the MinkLife Motivation Live. Are you struggling with feeling unsettled? I'm Denise Belisle. I'm a serenity expert, and with my guests, we'll have a great time trying to figure this out. Hello, welcome everyone. I'm still hearing a little background sound, so maybe the tech people can fix that up. And I'm super happy to be here with my three guests today. And let's get the show started. We have a bunch of questions to ask them. Let's get started. The first question is, for people that are watching, first of all, if you're watching live on your social media, please, you're more than welcome to place your comment in the chat so that we can respond to it, or we can post them on the screen so that everybody is aware of what you're thinking and what you would like to contribute to this wonderful conversation we'll be having. And now, meet the co-host, and I'm super happy we'll have a question for them and they will present their answer. So why are you passionate about helping people with self-care using your zone of genius? We'll start with Marilyn.
Hello, I'm Marilyn Robinson, and I'm from sunny California. Using my genius to help other people. I'm got a lot of years, 65 years of experience in life, and I am a life coach. So sharing my experiences and what I've learned through my ups and downs in life with people is what it's my calling. I want to be able to make their life more pleasant and help them enjoy life as I have enjoyed life. So specifically with their self-care, I grew up with an era that, you came last. I took care of my career, my husband, my kids, my house, and then, oh, darn, there's no time left for me. So self-care is really tough because people need to understand the value of self-care. And the value of self-care is so that you can keep taking care of your career, your husband, your kids, your house. So, being able to share different ways to make things go quicker, have routines into habits so you don't have to think. That's where I help out.
Thank you so much, Marilyn. Yes, self-care is very important. It's like going in the airplane, right? They say put your oxygen mask on first if there's an emergency before helping others. Because if you're not well, you can't help others. And let's go with Samantha. Samantha, welcome to the show. We're glad to have you here.
Thank you. It's absolutely wonderful to be here.
So, why are we passionate about helping people with self-care using your zone of genius?
Well, for me, I'm a relationship coach for women, and I focus on helping women to find that love and appreciation for themselves. And the reason why I'm passionate about helping them find that in their self-care routine is because for 48 years, I did not value who I was, and I did not know who I was. And I was always living for other people. And after going through my second divorce, I realized that there was something that I needed to change. And starting with self-care is a big thing, to actually be able to see yourself and to value who you are and what you're doing. That way, so that you do have more to give for others. Just like Marilyn said, if we can fill our cup, it opens us up so we have more to give.
Yeah, I love that. Absolutely. It's so important. And let's see what Tara has to say. And welcome, Tara, to the show. It's good to have you here too.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me. Yeah, so I am an intuitive career coach. So kind of goes back to my own career journey, starting off as a professional dancer and then becoming a paralegal, and then ultimately in health coaching, because throughout each of my first two careers, I was working from a very masculine place, that go, 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 go energy. And when I stepped into health coaching, I met many women who are also working in that same space. We've worked so hard to get to a certain point in our career. We're living that career, but we're also trying to balance family life, however that may look, and all of the needs at home while also meeting the demands of a high stress career. And we're dealing with a lot of burnout, a lot of like weight gain issues, sleep issues, hormonal imbalances. And I was just coaching a lot of women through that in the health coaching arena. And I realized the common theme was the stress around making harder decisions to make a career change, because we put so much time and energy into one particular career field, and we were not trusting our intuition to make a leap into something that was more aligned with what we wanted, balance, work-life balance, as to how we identify with work-life balance, what it means for us and our definition of success, so that we can balance our energies, balance our time, and look forward to what we're doing every day.
Yeah, that's great, because I feel that very often we forget ourselves. We forget about taking care of self. And I work with parents, or parents that have empty nest or soon to be. And what I do is I create an exit strategy for them. And the number one step into that exit strategy, or how to deal with your life after the kids left, is to take care of yourself. And if the kids are still there, start to learn to put yourself on top of that to-do list, because when you are parents, your to-do list is that big, and here, right there underneath it, is like, take care of self. And so it's very important to raise that little self-care. And that's what I teach to my client, is to put themselves a little bit higher all the time. And eventually, once they learn to really take care of themselves, they realize that it's so much easier to take care of others when you feel good about yourself, when you sleep well, when you're relaxed, when you have all that energy. You have so much more calm in your life. You have so much more energy. So that's really exciting. So we have Yo that says self-care looks different for everyone. I love that each of you share a different one, yet similar connection. Yeah, of course, because self-care is not like written in a dictionary, you have to do this, this, and that. But everyone has a different level of self-care. And that's why when you have a coach to help you, you can adjust and ask question, what's important to you? If you tell someone, go get some warm bath and relax and drink a glass of wine, but that person doesn't like to take bath or doesn't drink, that doesn't work, right? So what is it that you need? What is it that you need to do to feel more at ease with yourself? What helps you release your stress? And these are all the things that I think with all of us here, you can have these tips and help, moving forward. So now let's look at, why is the mindset important for professional to thrive in your life and business? So wow, that's a good one. So we'll start with Samantha this time. Go ahead, Samantha. We'll go with Tara.
Yeah, so balance and mindset. So something that's really important, I found throughout my own journey and with my clients, is what we think about when we first wake up in the morning. So a lot of times, especially if you have a hectic career and a lot of things going on at home, we immediately wake up, especially as parents, we go, okay, what do we have to do today? And we start running through the list in our mind immediately. And then we start to feel our energy drop, and we're already more exhausted than when we went to bed. And that's how we start our day. And when we flip the script on that and we wake up and we take care of ourselves first. And that includes like what we're thinking about upon waking up. Whether it's saying an affirmation or just checking in with our body and ourself and reflecting on, I'm awake and everybody is healthy and I'm happy to be here. That has a more energizing, motivating energy behind it for you to start your day. And then that leads into your business. So once you take care of yourself first thing in the morning with something as simple as an affirmation, and then you can go in and start taking care of your family. And then as you transition into your business or your work life, you are still carrying that positive energy if it's an affirmation that you're saying throughout the day. Whenever you start to feel yourself kind of get, because kids, depending on whatever age they are at in the morning and getting them ready for their routines, it can be draining on you. And then resetting yourself as you head into your workday with that affirmation of like honoring yourself, honoring your energy and the health of your family, and that you woke up and show up and you've shown up for them.
Yeah, I think having a great energy for yourself when you start your day, it's like you can open up a blanket of velvet on your life after that, because it seems so much easier. Yo said, who doesn't like being first? Yeah, well, unless it's death row or something. That's a funny one, Yo. Yeah, we don't want a first one in the death row. Definitely not. We don't want to be on death row. So now let's go with Samantha. Why is this mindset important for a professional to thrive in their life and business?
Well, mindset is extremely important. From my perspective, I want to be a light in this world. We have so much darkness around us. And sometimes when we try to be a light, I feel like the darkness tries to come in and tell us, you're not enough. Why are you doing this? You shouldn't be doing this. Nobody's going to listen to you. And for me, it is making sure that I combat all of those negative thoughts and to be able to stop them. And just like Tara mentioned, finding that affirmation or finding that self-talk that you can say when that starts creeping in, to be able to say, no, I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to let that take control. I am on my path. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing in whatever professional manner that you are doing business. It's a matter of taking charge of your mind to stop any of those negative thoughts and to truly just say, no, I'm going to be a light today. I'm going to seek the positive. And the more you seek that positive, the more you see the positive, which is absolutely incredible. For me in my life, I want to make sure I see the positive as much as possible. Otherwise, the darkness would take over.
You're right. And there's so much darkness out there, because what sells is the negative. What sells is the drama. So that's why people thrive on that. And affirmation at an early age can make for a natural flow when we become adult. Great tips, Tara. That's from Yolanda. And and yes, I remember seeing those video of little kids looking at themselves in the mirror with the parents' guidance and telling themselves affirmation, and it's so inspiring when I see that. I think it's super cool. So Marilyn, tell us about your why is mindset important for professionals to thrive in their business and life?
Well, mindset, especially when it comes to self-care, it's interesting. I wasn't raised with talk of self-care, but what I saw my mother do was her self-care was we kids weren't allowed to play in her little gorgeous living room. In fact, there was a runner on the carpet that we only could walk on that runner to get back to the family room where the TV was and stuff. And so we weren't allowed anywhere off that runner. So when she was in that living room on her couch reading her book from the library, that was her self time. And we were trained to leave her alone. And I just like, I watched her and she had those big, thick novels. And I just was like, oh, I want to someday be able to read those big, thick novels. I just was in love with the book. And I'd go to the library with her and I'd get my little kid books. And when she was reading, I'd read on the kitchen table. I'd read my 10 books to her one, and so that's what I took forward in my family, is that I wanted everybody to love reading as much as I loved reading. And so that was part of our pastime, that people would just on our together, we would actually sit in the living room and read, until my son found PC games. But he still loves to read. It's just not as not as often. He has to intermix those PC games. But mindset about the morning, as a mother, and even with my husband, I realized that I could have an impact on people's day if I showed up and woke everybody up to get ready for school in a happy, loving, laughing way. Then they would have that energy to go forward into their day. And I tested it one time. I said, this takes a lot of energy out of me. So I tested it and I pretended to be in a really bad mood and sour and complained the whole morning. And I tell you, the car ride that morning was miserable. Everybody had absorbed my negativity. And I said, okay, I have a power position here and I have a responsibility. And so I used to, the kids didn't remember half the stuff I used to do, which kind of pissed me off. But I'd wake them up on the way to wake them up. I'd find something, I'd wrap a scarf around my face or something and come in and act like some crazy character. And, it would bust them up. I mean, they were always laughing when they woke up. And we're all pretty much morning people too, so I think that makes a difference. But having the mindset that even throughout my day, if things weren't going well at work, I could take that moment, whether it be climb the stairs, in the building, or to go to the bathroom and just get a break. I could reset myself, and laughter is my tool. If I can laugh, at whatever the situation is, that is my reset. And so if you find me laughing a lot, I might be having fun or I might be resetting. So that's my trick.
That's fantastic. Yeah, laughter can cure it all. Like, I remember seeing research that says that whenever someone has cancer, to look at funny movie, to look at like to make themselves laugh, to change their mindset, to forget about their problem, and that would assist them into being happier. So we have you again on the couch that says, I love the way Marilyn still light up when talking about her childhood and impacted her self-care. I felt like I was there with you. Kisses and kisses. So that's awesome. And so I found also mindset, like being a serenity expert, and I work a lot with what I tell people is everything starts between your ears. Everything starts here. Whatever you want to create in your life, whether you want to create abundance, whether you want to create weight reduction, whatever you want to create, whatever you want to have in your life, it goes with your mindset. And in another show we just had, we had a gentleman, and he was saying that your thought, your words, your thought, and your words, your action are guiding how your life's going to be. So when you start with your thoughts, and that's why your mindset is so important in order to thrive, because whether it's personal or in business, whatever is in there, often we don't take attention on how we're thinking. So when I work with people, I tell them the first step is take notes whenever you can of how you're talking to yourself, the things you're telling yourself. That's your first homework, is write it down if you can. And the more you want to pay attention to it, the more you will become aware of it. So you have to make an intention into being aware of your thoughts. And the more you do that, then you will realize how your thoughts are affecting what you're saying. Because if you want to be abundant, for example, And every time you go to a grocery store and you look around, it's like, oh my goodness, the prices are so expensive. Can't believe that it's so the economy is so bad and the price have went up so much. And how can we afford to eat now? And these are your thoughts, right? And even though you don't say that, and then you say, oh, I want to be wealthy, and then but it's in contradiction. So your thought has to be, oh, this is fantastic. I'm making enough money to be able to buy the food. I'm so excited that I have all that money so I can buy that food. So all these things can be so, so, so important on how you are wanting to control how your life goes. So it's pretty good. So now the next question. So how has mindset been a problem for you in the past, and how did you overcome it? So now we'll start with Samantha. Da, 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 da. Is it going to work this time? Yes. Awesome.
Wonderful. So mindset for me was definitely a problem in the past. For example, one of the things that comes up is when I was getting ready to get married for the second time. There were red flags, and I still went ahead with the marriage. And I thought, this is just as good as it gets on the second time. This is just what it is. This is my second marriage. I should just go because this is as good as it's going to get. And so I got into a marriage. I was only married for 3 years before I got divorced. And when I was going through that second divorce was my time to say, okay, I'm the common denominator in 2 failed marriages. I can point and say, okay, well, this is what he did. This is what he did. But from my perspective, I was in those relationships. Now looking back, they were the same type of guy, even though they had differences. So I was choosing something that wasn't right for me. And so I believe that my mindset needed to shift. I wanted a happier life. I wanted a happier ever after. I wanted to take those steps and do something different. And it was actually the work that I've done is so incredible. And it's something that I truly want to share with all women who feel like you're stuck in something that's repeating. So just to be able to have that change and have that shift in your mindset so you can create the life you desire.
Yes. Sometime when we don't pay attention to our action, we keep repeating the same mistake over and over again. You kept attracting the same type of guy because you had the same mindset. So it's completely normal. And it works with everything, not just relationship, right? So now let's hear about Marilyn. So how has your mindset been a problem for you in the past, and how did you overcome it?
Well, I think the biggest one was, I worked at Intel and I worked in a mostly dominant male environment in sales, and then later on in marketing and management. And so I think, they are non-emoting people, and so I adapted to the corporate male dominant world and lost a lot of my self expression. And luckily, when I had kids, I got to, express myself, waking them up. But at work, I was one of the hard asses, just as hard ass as the next guy next to me. And so when I left Intel and I started doing different things like nonprofit and life coaching and business coaching, there was an element there that I had this wall up. And it's really interesting, those habits of over 20 years, how hard they are to break, to be able to emote, to be able to share your feelings and to be genuine, and not worry that somebody's going to hurt you, or or think bad of you. And so that's still work in progress for me. Although you could ask Denise and Yo and some of the people that know me. I definitely freely share my experiences and my learnings, but I don't always necessarily share my emotions and my feelings. And so I'm still working on that. And it's a work in progress.
Yeah, it is a work in progress, because when we have decades of programming into being a certain way, and that's the problem I found often with coaches, coachee, or people that needs help, is that they think they can change overnight, and then when it doesn't, they say, well, that stuff doesn't work. So we gotta be patient. So now let's ask Tara. So how has mindset has been a problem for you in the past, and how did you overcome it?
Yeah, so my story actually started, my mindset shift started back in my dance career. That's a very cutthroat industry. And I was not very grounded and rooted into my own self awareness, my thoughts, and how they affected my emotions, and then how it outwardly affected my interactions personally, professionally, and romantically. And it all started with just like things I grew up being told that were elements of my personality, kind of in a negative light. And I started to create the story about myself in my head as to who I was. So I was afraid of people seeing me, um, and who I am. And I thought I had to put on a certain kind of mask for myself in all areas of my life. And of course, if you've ever done this, it doesn't last for very long, and it can be very detrimental. And I started to think very negatively about my talents, my career path, my career growth, my friendship circle, um, having a more romantic relationship with somebody in the future, to get married and have kids. And it kind of spiraled downward into a very dark place. And I had to hit this experience that kind of smacked me out of it and said, this really isn't who I am. Um, this is not who I want to be. And I don't agree with this version of myself who I've been told I am, and the story that's been developed. So I started to heal that mindset through the book by Lois Hay, You Can Heal Your Life. And I read it cover to cover, and I got myself into traditional therapy. And then I completely changed careers, and I became a paralegal. And I started working at the Department of Justice, the U.S. Attorney's Office, as my first job. And it all stemmed from changing my perspective of who I really was, and honoring myself, and finding my voice, and learning how to communicate for myself, advocate for myself, setting boundaries. And it has snowballed ever since. And I've gone into deeper realms of healing through energy work. And I teach my clients how to do the same thing, and really dive through the minutia of that dark space to come out into the light.
Wow, I like that. Coming out of the dark to go into the light. Absolutely. And we had Yo that says that I'm still training myself to respect, enjoy, and know it all. It's all a process. And she said the programming didn't come overnight, so neither will the deprogramming. So absolutely, we need to be patient with ourselves. We need to give ourselves, go back first question, lots of self-love, lots of self commitment to be better. So as for myself, I used to be, even though at that time I had about 15 years of workshop, working on myself, working on doing lots of meditation and all that, I had from my childhood, I had carried forward a little bit of bitterness with life and with people. And my defense mechanism was things that was coming out of my mouth was not always nice and kind. And then that was creating a lot of relationship problem, because I was not really, I could really hurt people with the words that was coming out of my mouth. But then I discovered emotional intelligence in the 90s, and that allowed me to totally change my mindset. And at that time, one of the pivoting moment is I decided to become 100% responsible for my life and for what's happening in my life, which means that it took a little bit of time. I don't remember the length, but it took a bit of time. But I stopped saying it's not my fault. And now the only time I say these words and when I give that talk, because I can't remember saying it's not my fault whenever I talk about something. So when you take that on, when you decide from today, I'm going to be responsible, regardless of what happened, you're in traffic, you're going to be late. Don't say it's not my fault. There was lots of traffic. Yeah, you left, at the time you left. If you left 15 minutes before, you would have had enough time in traffic to get there on time. So be responsible for everything that happened in your life. And that's what I did. And it changed everything. It changed the way I see people because I stopped blaming them. I was losing my power by giving out, my power to everyone. Make a huge difference in my life. So now let's wrap it up. We have now, who should you ask for help when you are trying to improve your self-care? So I will go back to Marilyn first.
See, my answer would be, ooh, nobody, because I can't share. I can't share. No, I don't want them to know. But I'm lucky to belong to this wonderful group of incubators here in MinkLife, and I've met some wonderful people, and they're, I feel like I know them, but I've never met any of them in person. I've been working with them for since 2019, long time. So, but it's, I think that you find the people that you can open up to, that you can ask for help. I'm finding that in my 30-year-old daughter. She's really at an age where she's inquisitive about what phase of life I'm in and what's going on. With me and what I'm struggling with and how, the different phases I've gone through. And so that's been a joy to be able to share with her, but then to be also open to see what, to see what she's thinking about, in her next phase of life. It's kind of that 30 mark. Now, where does she go? She's kind of been playing around. Now, what does she do with the rest of her life? And so, opening up and sharing what I struggle with right now in my phase of life and being honest with her instead of pretending to be that super mom all the time.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So Yo from the couch said, "Laugh out loud. Facts. We still get to see each other legs only day. One day we'll get to see each other's leg one day." Yeah, of course, because we're like, okay, we're stopping here. Like, yeah, you do have legs. And so now let's go with Tara. So why should you ask for help when you are trying to improve your self-care?
Really important to reach out to people that you feel comfortable with and your gut instinct that you feel you can lean on and talk to. I know I'm just like Marilyn. My initial responses were always be like, no, I'm not going to ask for help. I'm going to figure it out myself. I don't want to bother people with this. And there may be a certain level of feeling embarrassed about it too. And you're feeling vulnerable. There's a lot of vulnerability involved with that. But it's in those moments that if you can find that support, somebody to lean on who's going to see you and hear you and get you, maybe without you even talking all that much. They may just see it in your energy field and be able to give you some guidance and or cook you a nice dinner or just, sit with you, be company for you while you try to figure out what it is that you're trying to mend in self-care or add to your self-care, especially parents. Moms and dads, especially if a dad is a single parent and you're managing all of those things, like having somebody to lean on that you can just kind of be yourself, express what you need to in that moment, and know that, they're going to appreciate what you're going through and not tell you what you need or should be doing, but honor your space to release whatever you're going through in that moment and find the self-care that you need.
Yeah, that's very important, to be able to rely on other people and not be shy to ask. And Samantha, why should you ask for help when you are trying to improve your self-care?
Well, I believe that God created us to where we are not to be living alone, and we are supposed to live in community. And I absolutely love when you start to make that positive shift, the different people that show up in your life, or the cheerleaders that have always been there, but you haven't necessarily paid that close attention to. Then those cheerleaders, they just surround you and start encouraging you in different things. And it is so important for each of us to kind of lean into that and to be able to see our value through their eyes and to know the direction that we're going and stuff, it is important. And yes, we should take these steps. Yes, we should believe in ourselves. Yes, we should keep moving. And just to be open to people that come in, follow your gut. Absolutely. But you will have people that just kind of show up in your life that if you lean into it, it's amazing what can open up for you and how your life can shift just by taking down at least a little bit of the walls. You know, maybe switching it out to a fence to where you still have a barrier, but you can see through and be able to kind of discern what's good and what's bad.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I love that analogy of the fence instead of a wall, right? You still feel a bit stuck, but you see that there's possibilities. So that's really nice. And yes, I agree with Marilyn. The MinkLife motivation group is pretty amazing. So go to our website and check it out. We have lots of stuff for you. And also, I've been in situation where I can do it all. I'm all good. And one time I broke my ankle and I needed help because I live on a 4th-story building and stairs, no elevators, with crunches and the boots and everything. And I was terrified. But then I asked for help, and you know what? People showed up. You know, people would come and bring me milk. People would come and bring down the garbage. People would they would do things for me, and out of their good hearts, because you know what? When you're kind to people in general, people will be kind to you back again. So don't be afraid to ask, because that's how it was helping me with my self-care. Because at that time when I was immobile and there was a bad break, so I had to lay down most of the time, I was terrified. I was like, oh my goodness, how am I going to do this? But you know what? The 3 months went like that, and I had support, I had help, I had people showing up, calling me, hey, can I come up? You know, I'm going to bring you something to eat. Oh, okay. You know, so don't be afraid to ask, and find your community, find people that you can rely on, that you can jump in anytime. And like when we have the incubator, this is an area where the Zoom is open. And when you're a member, you can just go in, and there's some of us that are there, never the same people. And if you have a question, say, hey, I'm stuck with this. Do you have any idea how I can get unstuck? And people put their mind together. They take 5 minutes and you get support. And I think that's super cool to have that, to be able to have that space where you can go anytime. It's like walking to everybody's office and say, hey guys, you know, when you work alone at home, sometimes it's not easy, right? But we have that. We have the incubator. So go on our website and find out how you can become a member and be part of our community. I think you'll love that. So now we're up to the last tips. Dun, 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 dun. I think so. Yay! What is the one tip for calibrating your life by focusing on self-care? So I will start with Tara.
The one tip I like to share that has been a game changer for me is kind of what I touched on earlier, is putting yourself first when you first wake up in the morning before you're getting everybody else ready for bed, ready for the day. Taking that time to slow down and do what you need to do for you. Get that cup of coffee, go sit outside or sit in your favorite room, look out the window, kind of decompress, prepare yourself for the day. Enjoy the calmness and the quiet of your house before everybody gets up. And it turns into chaos, and it sets you up very well.
Turn into chaos. Yeah, I love that. Before the chaos starts. In my coaching, I say shift from crisis to oasis, you know, and you can easily do that with your mindset. So now I'll go with Samantha, and I'll go Marilyn after. So Samantha, what's the one tip for calibrating?
The one tip for me, if you have not been somebody who has done self-care, then sometimes it may be hard to carve out that time. You know, some people say, 30 minutes or whatever that is. I started with 5 minutes. I got a timer on my phone, because I got a timer because the first time I tried to sit for 5 minutes, it was the longest 5 minutes of my life. So I got a timer that I set 5 minutes, and each day I would just take that time and then you build on it. It's not something that, okay, I'm going to start self-care and this is everything I'm going to do. Start small and build your way up. For me, the only quiet place I could find was my walk-in closet in my bedroom. It was a small little space, and I would take 5 minutes and I would sit in there and I would journal or just have peace in the morning. So don't feel that you have to jump into it full force, but even just starting with 5 minutes a day, it's amazing how it will shift your day and your time. And yes, I totally agree with Tara. First thing in the morning, because when I tried to save it to the last thing of the day, I was too exhausted that I just wanted to put my head on the pillow and go to sleep. So first thing in the morning, find some space. Or maybe your only time is like during a lunch hour. Take time to go sit in your car or go someplace, find an empty office, whatever that might be, to just take that time for yourself. And again, it doesn't have to be anything small or anything big. To start small and build upon it.
That's great. Thank you so much. And you're not the only one I heard. You're not the only mom I heard that goes into the closet or the walk-in closet to have a quiet space. I've heard that a few times. So don't be afraid, moms, to go into your walk-in closet or in your closet and close the door and hide for a few minutes. I think that'll work out. So what about you, Marilyn? What's your one tip?
I think it's going to be a different. What I found is that I put a lot of expectations on myself. And so I expect myself to be the super mom, to be the career woman, to do all this stuff. And the reality is, to keep the perfect house, to make the perfect meals, whatever it is. The one tip is, the reality is nobody remembers it. And so what's programmed in your head as what you should be doing isn't necessarily true. And I think that if you take a moment to decide how you're spending your time and go ahead and let go of those things that somebody else told you should do or society expects you to do, because they're not living your life for you. So if you feel like you deserve to get up and take a break and go for a walk in the morning, or take a bath in the morning, whatever it is that you feel is right for you, don't feel guilty about it. And I think that's the key is just look at what you're doing and say, is this really the most important thing I could be doing right now? And, frankly, my kids always said, oh, it's always so nice to have the house clean. I said, well, good. Then we can do it more often, because they all had chores.
That's great. And, that's not my tip, but I'm going to say, just for those that are listening, like self-care, being selfish is part of self-care. You got to be selfish a little bit. So my one tip is actually, because I was listening to all of you ladies, and what I was thinking is to say that find out what is it that you need to as self-care. Because as we talked, we heard about affirmation, we heard about a quiet time for 5 minutes, we heard about other things, but what is it that you will feel relaxed and energized after you do it? Is it going for a brisk walk around the block? Is it going to take a bath? Is it sitting in a quiet not cupboard, like a walk-in closet with a timer on, so that it's 5 minutes? What is it for you? And make a list of things, and then if you're not sure, make a list of things that you think might be it, and try them and see if that brings you peace, if that brings you calmness, if that energizes you. And the morning is perfect to do that, because it sets your day. And a little bit of positive affirmation before going to bed, just to set your night and say, I'm going to have a great night's sleep, and in the morning I'll wake up refreshed. So get your day started by having those thoughts at night. So I'm so excited to have you all here today. We had an amazing talk. I was so excited to meet Samantha, Tara, and to see Marilyn again. And I hope you're all going to come back and that you got lots of value out of this talk. So now we have a few announcements, I think, coming up. Yes, da, 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 da. And we'll start with, we'll let the maestro in the back decide who's starting. Okay, Tara, what do you have to announce for us?
Yeah. So if any woman is looking to find more balance and work-life balance and take those next steps and trying to figure out what those next steps are to find your self-care and progress your career or your business, I invite you to a free career growth strategy call that I offer. Booking one of those calls with me, we'll dive real deep in those 30 minutes. And if nothing else, it is a great space for you to have time for yourself.
That's wonderful. And now we'll go with Samantha.
So for me, I mainly focus working with women, professional women who have been through divorce, and helping them to rebuild and recreate their life after this. So if you are in a space to where you are struggling with loss, whether it's a loss of a relationship or even a loss of a loved one, and you are trying to figure out how to move forward, how to take those steps, how to feel like you're not stuck anymore, then this is where I come in to help my clients find the answers within them to be able to move forward and create the life that they want. For me, I knew that I had to figure out how to kind of rebuild everything from scratch and to find me first so I can find the right person for me. So that's what I do for my clients. So if by chance you're in that space and are looking for help, book a call with me. And the call is free. It's only going to cost you your time. And it's just a time for us to get to know each other and to see if I might be a right fit or could possibly give some resources of what might help you move along.
And Marilyn, what's your gift?
Okay, so go ahead and visit my website, marilyn-robinson.com. I would love to have a conversation with you, but there's some other tools out there too. So if you want to save an hour or two a day and have that guilt-free hour for yourself, there's also an option on that page to click and get that tool. And then if you are a mom and you want some tips on being a super mom, there's also the option to select that item. But most importantly, I want to offer you the gift of my time, which would help you in your direction of what you want to do and how you want to make the best of every day. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Marilyn. And I'm curious, does the supermom status come with a cape?
I had thought about that.
And that's fabulous. So what I have to offer for you is, as I mentioned earlier, I'm working with empty nesters to support them getting an exit strategy from being a full-time parent. And starting over a checklist will give you some steps in order to prepare yourself on having the kids leaving the house, or if they already left, because it's so bad that often we don't get ready for that. And as I mentioned earlier, like our self-care is right at the bottom. So when the kids leave, you don't know who you are. You don't know what you like. You don't know your husband. He's been there all along for the last 20, 25 years. But now all of a sudden the kids leave the house, and all that time you spend with the kids and not paying attention to your partner is like, oh, who are you? You know, who are we as a couple? So this little checklist will support you in moving forward and finding out who you are. And there's more behind when you click, you want to get it, you'll have a little something else out there that will definitely help you moving forward. So thank you so much, lady. And now let's look at the announcement for MinkLife Motivation.
Okay, so that was a fantastic show, ladies. Thank you so much. I'm Monica Henderson, and I'm here to give you your announcements for the MinkLife community. So if you are enjoying this show and you love it, well, guess what? you can watch it on the go. That's right. Everywhere that podcasts are, you can watch the show or listen to the show, I should say. So check in to Spotify or Apple Podcasts and look for Mink Life Motivation Live, where you can hear all of the wonderful conversations that we have. If you think you could be on the show, that's right, you want to be one of the boxes and not just a coho on the couch, we would love to have you as a part of the show. So you're going to go to www.minklifemotivation.com/live and you can be on the show. Also, I don't have a graphic here for it, but Denise was reminding me that we also have a challenge that's happening. So you want to go to Mink Life University, and I think I have a caption for this, where you can be a part of the challenge that we're doing. It's a Get Your Life Together challenge, and it is on minklifeuniversity.com. That is also something that you want to tap into right now. So just go there, minklifeuniversity.com, and sign up for that. That is all for our announcements today. Back to you.
I'm here. I'm here. Yay, we're back. Awesome. Lady, that was such a great show. Well, 15 minutes. I think we beat my record of having such an amazing show, but you were also amazing. So much beautiful things to say. So don't be afraid to share that on your social media. I invite people to watch this again. Send them to all our podcast places, because we had shared a lot of gems in here. So thank you so much, everyone, for being here, and be kind to one another. I'll see you next time.